We're back this week for Fridays in the Field. I'm Shalee Peters, and we find ourselves back in central Nebraska with farmer Ben Peters. Peters farms near Worms, Nebraska in Merrick County. And this week, we go into more on the soybean side of things. We didn't get too far into soybeans last time, but as you can tell, they've grown a little bit. Peters talks about where his beans are at this growing season.
Well, we started watering beans pretty hard. And they started throwing pods, and now we're in the grain fill stage, so we're really just kind of trying to keep the water to them, and that's about all you can do right now. We had some cold weather and rain and stuff, so right at the beginning of May, so I didn't start planting beans until I think the 5th or 6th of May, and everything came through really well. These soybeans are ridge-tail soybeans, so really don't have too many issues getting a good stand here. I planted these at 135,000 in 36-inch rows. I've been having pretty good luck with that. So, and this field hasn't been soybeans for quite a number of years, so I'm anticipating pretty good yields here.
Temperatures have been cooler here in central Nebraska, and Peters talks about how that's been good for his soybeans, but we might need some heat to finish off the corn.
I honestly hate to ask for it to get hotter, but I wish it was about 10 degrees warmer. It's not bad for the corn, it's just slowing it down a little bit. Just now starting to see some of it dent. But the good news is we're not using near as much water irrigating with it being this cool. And I'm sure it will probably get warm again, it usually does.
With the past month bringing very hot temperatures as well as those cooler temps more recently, Peters says they have missed out on some key rains.
Yeah, we haven't had a big rain for I don't know how, it's been quite a while. We've caught a lot of 30, 40 hundreds. Then you get south of here a few miles just across the Prairie Creek, and it seems like they've been catching a ½ inch or so every week. So it's helping those guys kind of stay caught up on irrigating, and with the cooler weather, that helps too. But I know a lot of the storms to our west and south, the rain they've gotten, they've gotten some hail and stuff, and we don't really, at this point, don't want that at all.
Since we last visited with Peters, a very key time of the growing season took place, pollination. He says high temperatures during that time did cause some issues with his corn.
Most of it looks good. I've got like 55 acres at home and then about 40 acres on another farm that had well, at home there, some years just didn't pollinate very well in the first place. And then on the other farm, some of them tipped back quite a bit. And those were some of my earlier planted fields. They just ended up, started pollinating when it was, the upper 90s, and then it didn't cool off a whole lot at night. So other than that, everything looks pretty good. Like I said, it's just behind a little bit where it probably should be, but we're okay. I haven't looked for a couple of days, but it's starting to dent, so we're getting there.
And also in the news lately are increased reports of dicamba injury. Peters said he didn't escape that either.
I haven't really seen any issues with disease in the beans and the corn. I've had some gray leaf spot just a little bit, and then on another 80, it looked like some of that bacterial leaf stripe, I think is what they call it. I had a little bit of that last year, and it came back. The only thing I've seen in beans is I did have an 80 that got a little bit of chemical drift from dicamba, but it set them back probably for 3 weeks or so. They finally came out of it. They're behind a little bit, but they are finally putting pods on, so they look like they're going to be okay. I think the corn's going to be good. With this cooler weather during grain fill, I think that helped a lot. And I think the beans look like they're going to be pretty good. Like these beans here are potted pretty heavily, and they're potted all the way to the top, which is usually, if you get clusters, like right in here, there's a cluster all the way to the top. Usually old timers say those are pretty good beans. So they look good, but we've got quite a ways to go yet. So
we'll catch up with Central Nebraska grower Ben Peters next time. You can always find all of our features and catch up with other Fridays in the Field growers on ruralradio.com. For Fridays in the Field from Central Nebraska, I'm Shalee Peters.